Sorry. Are you Benito Vasquez?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Counsel, any objection to your client appearing by Zoom?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Vasquez, did you review the document entitled Consent to Appear by Zoom with your attorney? Did you understand it and electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your
In
Honor.
each cause number, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. In each cause number, did you review the acknowledgement of discovery with your attorneys? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
ma'am.
sign it in each. Correction. Did you review all of the discovery with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Collins, have you received all the discovery?
I have, Your Honor. I've signed the discovery note.
All right, in each cause number, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Counsel, in each cause number, are there any applications?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Vasquez, in each cause number, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, in each cause number, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Your Honor.
State in cause number 2025 CR 0000705, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor, unless there is a repeater enhancement to it. I don't believe there is in this.
No, there is not. And cause number 2025 CR 0000208, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes.
Any objections to the waiver of the repeated paragraph?
No, Your Honor.
Can I have a stamp for plea, please?
Oh, ma'am.
And in cause number 2025 CR 2025 CR 0020028, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
On in the meeting.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
In each cause number, did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
And cause number 2025 CR 0000705, you're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. And cause number 2025 CR 0000208, you're charged with the offense of theft of property, $2,500, less than $2,500, with 2 or more previous convictions. And cause number 2025 CR 0002028, you're charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. Each of those charges are state jail felonies. The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine. If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent. By entering this plea, you're giving up those rights. Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in each of these cause numbers?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, in each of the cause numbers, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I believe he is, and I believe he was, Your Honor.
Mr. Vasquez, in each of the cause numbers, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, Your Honor.
And each cause number, if you're not a U.S. citizen, by entering into these pleas, you will be deported, denied naturalization, and re-entry. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
In each of the cause numbers, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. In each of the cause numbers, did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the cause number ending in 05, the state is requesting that your punishment be assessed at 235 days in the Bear County Jail. And the cause number ending in 08 and 28, the state is requesting that your punishment be assessed at 236 days in the Bear County Jail. And each cause number, they're requesting a $1,000 fine. There are no applications. They will run concurrent with 2025 CR. Well, each of the cause numbers will run concurrently. The state will take in consideration 2025 CR 008764. Did you understand that to be the plea in each cause number?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense is at the plea in each cause number.
It is, Your Honor.
And each cause number and state, and each cause number, did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing that you're waiving your right to appeal, the only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, are there any such motions in either of the cause numbers?
No, Your Honor.
Then in the cause number 2025 CR 000705, how do you plea?
No contest.
And cause number 2025 CR 000208, how do you plea?
No contest.
And cause number 2025 CR 002028 to count one, how do you plea?
No contest.
State any evidence.
Yes, Your Honor, all cause numbers, state offers what have been marked as State's Exhibit 1 and all.
I've reviewed those with my client, Your Honor. We have no objections.
All right, state, you may be excused. And each of the cause numbers, did you review the document entitled trial court cert? Just one second. There's something that hasn't been signed. In each cause number, did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it
Yes, Your Honor.
and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor. I think I did.
And did you understand you have a right to jury trial,
Yes, Your Honor.
a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand,
Yes, Your Honor.
counsel?
I missed something?
In each cause number, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. And this one hasn't been signed by you, counsel. So we may need to just have this recalled for tomorrow because the paperwork is not prepared. Norma, if you can have Yaya and the defense go into the breakout room with the defendant, because there are parts of the paperwork that has not been signed by the defendant. So if they'll go into the breakout room with him and see if that can be corrected.
Yes.
Oh, if you'll take it to the back too. Yes.
Finance?
Oh, you want to-
Yeah, Judge, on that one, defense kept wanting to go talk to him first.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be fine, but I think we'll stipulate, we'll do a plea of guilty on this one, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Where it's the possession
Okay,
and its combination, and so we'll just agree that it's still less than a gram anyway.
okay. All right, so if you all will go into the breakout room, because there's still some things that have not been signed.
Let's show them that they gotta send that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then just give me the paperwork and I can send it back to them.
All right, the court is calling 2022 CR 6907A State versus Malik Dion Lampkin. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? For the defense?
As well as counsel.
And are you Malik Lampkin? All right, Mr. Lampkin, in this cause number, did you review the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision? State's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. And state's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation. Those documents are dated March 24th, 2025, October 27th, 2025, and May 19th, 2025. Did you review those documents with your attorney? And did you understand them? All right, are you the same Malik Dion Lampkin who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2022 CR 6907A for the offense of robbery on January 17th, 2023 for a period of 8 years? Is that you? All right, state.
Violation of condition number 1 on or about the 17th day of March 2025 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Malik Dion Lampkin committed the offense of robbery in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
Not true.
Violation of condition number 4 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Malik Dion Lampkin did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of January and February 2025 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
Not true.
Violation of condition number 28 on or about the 13th day of March 2025 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Malik Dion Lampkin did then and there fail to provide verification of receiving services from the Center for Healthcare Services as directed by the court in violation of condition number 28.
How do you plead to that?
Not true.
Your Honor, at this time, we would waive the violation of condition number 1 regarding the theft from person that is alleged in the state's supplemental motion that was filed on May 19th of 2025. And then proceed on the second supplemental motion with violation of condition number 1 on or about the 10th day of August 2025 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Malik Dion Lampkin committed the offense of harassment of a public servant in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
Not true.
Any objections to the state waiving violation of condition number 1 from the May 19th motion? All right, then for Theron Walker, if you'll come forward, please. Mr. Lopez, if you could unmute.
Yes, Your Honor.
On Mr. Walker, we're here because the state was to provide any information if there was restitution. The state has informed the court that they are not requesting restitution, that there's no restitution due. So we'll place with the probation officers, if you will place in the file that there's no restitution due and cause number 2025 CR 010484.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Mr. Walker?
No, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right. We're back on the record in this cause number. All right. State, call your first witness.
The state calls Javier Torres.
All right, Mr. Torres, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Judge.
All right, you can lower your hand, and for the record, both parties stated that there will be no objections to any witnesses appearing by Zoom. Is that correct, State?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Defense, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Torres, again, could you state your first and last name, and I'm sorry, and spell your last name?
First name Javier, Javier. Last name Torres, Torres.
All right, State, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Torres, how are you currently employed?
Currently an adult probation officer for Bexar County.
And how long have you been working as a probation officer with Bexar County?
25 years.
As a probation officer with Bexar County, what are your duties in your position?
Make sure that when somebody gets placed on probation, make sure that they follow the rules that the court has imposed.
Okay. Now, as part of your routine practices as a probation officer, do you regularly meet with probationers?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you take notes and notate in your system when you meet with probationers?
That's correct. We do a chrono on every office visit.
Okay. And are you familiar with a probationer by the name of Malik Dion Lampkin?
I am.
Were you his assigned probation officer?
I am.
Okay, and is that under cause number 2022 CR 6907A?
It's correct.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about Mr. Lampkin's reporting or lack thereof. How would you instruct the defendant to report to you?
As far as giving appointments verbally and by appointment card,
Okay, and so prior to January and February of 2025, so in December of 2024, did you have contact with Mr. Lampkin?
I did.
Okay, and how was that contact?
I had 2 office visits because he failed to report in November. So I tried to get it back in compliance, and I did two meetings in December to try to get him back in compliance.
Okay, and were those in-person meetings at your office?
They were.
Okay. And so at the time that he reported to you in December of 2024, did you instruct him to report in January of 2025?
I did.
Okay. And did he report to you in January of 2025?
He did not.
Did he report to you in February of 2025?
He did not.
When was the next time that you had contact with the defendant?
The field team attempted to visit him at his home on the 7th of January. There was no contact on that date. On the 18th as well, no contact. And then they left a flyer for him on March 12th. And if I can look at my notes real quick, I think the next date that he reported was in March, which was, he came in on March 13th.
Okay. And was that an in-person meeting with you?
It was.
Okay. Now regarding the in-persons in December, when he made contact with you in December and then again in March, was he appearing to these meetings alone or with other people, if you recall?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Can you repeat that, please?
Yes, when the defendant would report to you, was he by himself or did somebody accompany him?
As far as to the building, they're only allowed to come in by themselves, but at times he would mention that his grandfather would bring him.
Okay. And regarding the conditions of probation, can you explain to the court what condition number 1 of probation is?
Condition number 1, basically what it is that the defendants cannot reoffend or pick up any new criminal offenses while on probation.
Okay. What about condition number 4?
Condition number 4 is that they have to report once a month as directed by the court or the officer.
Okay. And then what about condition number 28?
I believe condition number 28 is the one that required him to show verification of continued mental health treatment with Center for Healthcare Services.
Okay. Did you advise him of this condition number 28 that he was needing to provide you verification of any treatment that he was receiving?
I did.
Okay, and did he provide you any verification of that?
At one point in his probation, he did bring something from Center for Healthcare Services, but on the times that we did meet, I would ask him for continued verification to provide a letter verification from the center that he was still active with him.
Okay, and so I guess what I'm hearing is that there was no continued proof on March 13th of 2025 that he was still receiving services from Center for Healthcare Services. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. We passed the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
Could you remember your last name, officer?
Sorry, sir.
What's your last name?
Torres.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
A little bit low, but I can make it out.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I'll talk like this, okay?
I think this might help.
Is it better now?
That's a lot better. Thank you.
Oh, great. The deputy helped me out. So, you said you've been doing this for 25 years, correct?
Correct, sir.
Have you received specialty training for the mental health unit?
Not specifically,
You have no specific mental health training?
not that I have received.
Okay, and that's okay. I'm just trying to get to the truth of the situation.
Right.
So in relation to violation of condition number 28, it was stated that he was not receiving services from the Center for Healthcare Services, right? In 2025 in March. Is that correct?
Correct. That's a date that I alleged because I hadn't received anything, any continued verification.
Okay. Are you able to see the image of the court screen? Like, can you see my hand waving over here in the little square?
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you see that clearly?
I
All right.
can.
Let's do this. State, have you reviewed that? Can you show it to the state, see if they have any objections?
No objection.
State, are you going to have any objections to defense exhibit number 1?
No objection.
All right. So let me see defense exhibits number 1. And are you asking that this be entered into evidence?
I'm going to show it to the witness and ask some questions about it, and then I will move to entering the evidence after that.
Well, because you're asking him to read it on camera and it's hard for him to read, it may be best for you to enter into evidence and then state, do you have any objections to him reading this to him, or somebody can scan it in and it can be shown to him by Zoom on his end?
No, Judge. I mean, you can go ahead and offer it. I'm not objecting to it.
Okay, we've offered it into evidence, Your Honor.
All right, defense exhibit number 1 is admitted without objection.
So I'm going to show you what's been admitted as defendant's exhibit 1, okay? I'm going to specifically focus on the lower part of the letter. We'll put it against the camera. Can you read what that says there?
I can.
Okay, and if you can take a minute to read it yourself and let me know when you've read it.
I saw it.
And do you recognize this logo at the top here?
I do.
Okay, and are you familiar with that organization?
All right, do you want to have a seat?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Not specifically. He brought me, Mr. Lampkin brought me a pamphlet. And if I can, if I may look at my notes. But he had brought me a pamphlet from a transitional care clinic. In one of our appointments, he did mention that he was going to go through them. And as a matter of fact, when I met with him on November 20th, I made him a little list of things that he needed to either provide to me or take to court. And that was one of the items that I requested he get verification that he's actively getting services and on medications.
Okay, and does that a letter I just showed you appear to be that?
It does.
Okay, and you're familiar with University Hospital? Do you
To a
know
certain extent, not as familiar as with Center for Healthcare Services.
Okay. Does University Hospital administer medication to people?
I imagine they do.
Okay. Do you know if you can get emergency detained if you would go to the University Hospital or somewhere else?
I believe you can.
Sorry, just 1 second. So when objections are made, just please stop speaking so that I can answer or make a ruling on the objections. State.
Like lack of foundation and speculation.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
So, Mr. Torres, if he's getting treatment from University Hospital, would that be helpful in relation to violation of condition number 28?
I imagine it would.
Okay. And the idea of condition number 28 is that he's getting mental health treatment as well as mental health medication, correct?
Correct.
And it does appear that that's happening currently.
It does.
Have you been supervising Malik since he's been on bond for the last several months?
I have.
Okay. And in the last several months, has he been compliant?
As far as compliant, as far as with the rules of probation?
Yeah. Has he been reporting to you? Has he been showing up to court, taking drug tests?
He was reporting, as far as the drug testing, on the list that I provided to him on November 20th, I did advise him to get also renewed verification that he's still participating in the CURT program, because I mean, he has had some drug test positive for marijuana. But back in 2023, he did provide a letter that it was good for 1 year, but that expired December of 2024. So I need something renewed that verifies that he's taking THC.
Okay. So, but other than that, he's been complying with your instructions and he's shown that he's been taking medication and those types of things as ordered by a medical professional.
As ordered by a medical professional, I imagine he is. I mean, I can't speak. What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
So sometimes when you're dealing with somebody, you can see how they are when they are not on medication. They can have highs and lows.
Right.
You can see how somebody is when they're on medication. Is it your opinion from dealing with Malik, it looks like for a couple years now, that he's likely on medication right now?
Based on his last visit, I was able to tell.
Okay. That he is on medication.
Correct, that he's stable.
They're stable. Okay. And has he ever driven himself to an appointment with you?
I imagine he has. I mean, the majority of the times he mentions that his grandfather brings him.
Uh-huh. Do you know him to drive on his own?
I don't.
Okay. So he is dependent on his grandfather or family members.
On his grandfather and on his mother. They're the
Yeah.
ones that help him out because they both email me as well.
Okay. So he has family members that have to support him in even his basic duties of probation.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, he depends a lot on his family because I mean, I've given him lists and instructions to bring me that verification in the past. And I don't know if he forgets or he loses it, but you know, it's always the mom or the grandfather that reach out to me.
Would you agree with me that when you deal with probationers, some are very independent and very capable of handling their probation, and some are not?
That's correct.
And along those same lines, what category would you put Malik in?
I feel that he depends a lot on his grandpa and his mom.
Okay. And in your experience, does he need that help?
Based on his performance at times, but I mean, he is an adult, so I mean, he is responsible for his own actions.
Yeah. But we did discuss you do not have mental health training, correct?
I don't.
Okay. And you don't know if he has any sort of diagnoses that may impact his ability to understand and process instructions.
Just whatever's been done. I know that they, I guess they had a hearing when he was incarcerated to see if they would find him competent or not.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But other than that, you don't have any of those notes in front of you or anything like that.
I don't.
Okay. So in regards to the failure to report a violation of condition number 4, if he was suffering from a mental health crisis or not taking his medication, would that impact his ability to meet with you?
It may have been, and as a matter of fact, in
Hey.
March when
Excuse me, there's an objection. Yes.
As to, well, one, relevance with this witness, lack of foundation and speculation.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
Are you familiar with Laurel Ridge, sir?
to a certain extent,
Okay. Do you know what their primary function is? Is it physical health, mental health?
mental health, I believe.
Okay. And you've had probationers that have come from there before, things like that?
I have.
Okay. And if you were to know that Mr. Lampkin was coming from that facility, what would that indicate to you?
That he either had a crisis or needed some intervention.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that he was in that facility in January of 2025?
It wouldn't, because he told me in March.
Okay. So you were aware that he had gone to get mental health treatment from Laurel Ridge in January?
Based on the offer visit in March, yes.
Okay. And when you met with him in March, did he seem stable?
With Mr. Lampkin, at all of our office visits, the majority of them, he's always very stoic and doesn't speak much.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned, this last one, he was more lucid on November 20th.
So right now he seems like he was doing better than he was in March.
Correct.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Can you pass me the defense exhibit one? Okay, Mr. Torres, so the defense exhibit one that Mr. Hagee showed you on the screen, from the UT Health San Antonio, that letter is defendant's exhibit one is dated November 26th of 2025. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so the date that you filed the MTR was March 13th of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and in that motion, you had alleged that on March 13th of 2025, you had not received any proof that the defendant was undergoing treatment at that time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then regarding condition number 28, was the court's order for services through Center for Healthcare Services or UT Health Science Center?
It was through Center for Healthcare Services.
Okay, and that's because Center for Healthcare Services has a very close working relationship with courts and probation, correct?
Correct.
And Center for Healthcare Services has the means to address any mental health concerns, correct? And dispense medication and things like that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so then it seems that you've had a meeting with the defendant in November of 2025, right?
That's correct. November 20th.
And at that time, were you advised that he had a hearing coming up concerning his probation?
I believe that he had a scheduled hearing that same day.
Okay.
I believe it was reset.
And so it seems to me that you all discussed some things that he could do to kind of help his chances. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say.
Okay. And one of those things was for him to go get that letter from the doctor. That's defense exhibit number one, right?
Correct.
Okay. We pass the witness.
Any further questions?
Briefly, Your Honor. So when he visited with you on the 20th, he did appear to be on his medication, you stated.
Correct. He was more lucid
Okay.
and more talkative.
Okay. So if 6 days later he's going to a doctor, he's likely not getting the medication for the first time then. He already had it when he met with you on the 20th, correct?
There was an incident on November 13th, I believe, with a field team that
Yeah, I'm going to object to non-responsive. So
Right, so when people make objections, I need to rule on those objections.
yes, Your Honor.
All right, so what is your objection?
A non-responsive. You started to answer a question I didn't ask.
All right, so Officer Torres, if you could listen to the question that is being asked and only answer the question that's being asked of you.
Will do, Judge.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Officer Torres, you met with him on November 20th, correct?
Correct.
And Defendant's Exhibit 1 is dated November 26th, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so if he had medication on November 20th, then November 26th is after that date, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Pass witness.
Can you please advise me of the incident with the field team that occurred?
I'm going to object. It's outside the scope of this hearing. It's not an alleged violation, Your Honor.
Well, it is. Counsel has opened the door by alleging that the defendant is med compliant when that's not exactly the case.
Overruled.
You're gonna go ahead and answer.
On November 13th, the field team attempted to make contact with Mr. Lampkin at his home, and they did. And the field officer notated that, based on Mr. Lampkin's behavior and that he verbally admitted to them that he wasn't taking medication, and they actually had to end the meeting early because of fear for their safety. The field officers contacted SAPD and they sent the welfare check to his home, but nobody responded.
Thank you. We pass the witness.
Officer Torres, so it's the opinion of your department that he does much better when he is on medication, right?
Correct.
And they ended the meeting because he wasn't on medication.
That and his behavior.
Yeah. And as of the behavior you saw on November 20th, he was on medication at that time.
Totally different person, correct.
Okay. And on November 26th, it appears that he's compliant with getting some sort of treatment.
Based on that letter that you showed me, yes.
Okay, and as of today, he's sitting here in this courtroom and remaining calm as we're doing this.
That's correct.
Okay, I pass the witness.
No further questions for this witness.
All right, is this witness excused?
By the state, yes, Your
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
All right, call your next witness.
Honor. The state calls Officer Thomas.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll state your name for the record, please, and spell your last name.
It's Biezda Tamez, Tamez.
All right, state you may proceed.
Officer Thomas, how are you currently employed?
I am employed with the San Antonio Police Department.
Okay, and are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with the San Antonio Police Department?
I have been with the department since March of 2025.
Okay. What is your current title and assignment with San Antonio Police Department?
I am a patrol officer with the North Substation for B shift.
Okay. And were you employed with the San Antonio Police Department on March 17th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long had you been on the department at that time?
At that time, I was with the department for 2 weeks.
Okay. And so did you respond to a call under SAPD 25052748?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, were you still undergoing training?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so were you working alone or with a partner?
I was with a partner. He was my FTO.
Okay. And when you say FTO, is that field training officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that an officer that's more senior than you typically?
Correct.
Okay. But regarding the SAPD case number that I referenced earlier, are you the one that wrote the report for that offense?
Correct.
Okay. And so on March 17th of 2025, were you dispatched to a Shell gas station located at 11607 IH 35 North, San Antonio, Texas 78233?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall why you were dispatched to that location?
We were dispatched for a robbery of an individual.
Okay. And when you arrived on scene, were you able to make contact with anyone?
Yes, once we arrived to the Shell gas station, the first person I made contact with was the victim.
Okay. And do you recall his name?
It's going to be Gilbert Aleman.
Okay. And when you were on scene, were you able to take a statement from Mr. Aleman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, at any point did you go inside of the convenience store?
Yes, ma'am. I spoke to the clerk that was working at the time.
Okay. And were you able to observe anything inside of the convenience store?
Yes, after a while the clerk was able to lead me to the back of the gas station. She was able to pull up some surveillance.
Okay.
Your Honor, if we could approach.
Yes. All right, are both parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state you may proceed with your questions.
Officer Thomas, I'm gonna approach this screen, but and show you what's been marked as exhibit number 1. It's in a white envelope. I'm gonna pull it out. Do you recognize this?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you viewed the contents of this disc?
What was that again?
Sorry. Have you viewed the contents contained on the disc that I just showed you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And does state's exhibit number 1 contain an identifying mark placed by you on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is state's exhibit number 1?
It's my body cam footage of that call that I attend.
Okay. And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the scene and how the call unfolded on the offense date?
Yes, ma'am.
And has it been altered except to comply with legal rules in any way to your knowledge?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, we would offer state's exhibit number 1 and tender to defense for inspection.
We would object under lack of knowledge, hearsay, improper predicate, improper foundation, and lack of expertise, as there is video inside of this video that she does not maintain the systems for, doesn't know how they are operated, doesn't know if they are true and correct.
You
or if
need
they've
to,
been
it
edited.
sounds as though you need to take the witness on voir dire.
Yes, I would agree, Your Honor. May I take this witness on a voir dire?
Yes.
Officer Tamez, this is the defense attorney speaking to you now. I have some questions about this video.
Yes, sir.
Did you go inside of this facility and when you had your body worn camera activated,
Yes.
did you speak to a gas station attendant inside of that gas station?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And in speaking to them, did you capture other computers and other screens on your body worn camera?
Yes, there was different cameras or computers in that room that she was entering.
Okay. And in that room that you were in, your body worn camera was capturing information, correct? In video?
Correct.
And do you know if the videos that you captured have been edited in any way?
No, from what was shown to me there, she was trying to look at the footage, exact timing of when the incident
Objection
occurred.
non-responsive.
All right, that objection will be overruled. You can answer it.
Whenever she was showing the surveillance, she was just looking for the specific time frame of when the incident occurred.
Okay. And do you know if she has the ability to edit the videos?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And have you been trained in video forensics?
No, I have not.
Okay. Do you work for that gas station?
No, I don't.
Are you a custodian of records for that gas station?
No.
Okay. And you haven't been employed by them?
No.
Okay. And you said you have no training in digital forensics?
No, I don't.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would object to her proffering the video inside of her body worn camera, as she's the improper witness. She doesn't have actual knowledge of the contents. She can't testify whether it's true and authentic, as well as it's hearsay. So for those reasons, we would ask that that part of the body worn camera be excluded, but other parts be allowed.
State.
Judge, I guess, can I just ask her a couple of questions?
Yes.
Officer Thomas, so when you made contact with the employee from the Shell gas station, I mean, did you observe her log into the system?
Whenever she was looking for the footage, from what I saw, she was just looking for the time frames. Not that she logged in, she already had it ready. She was just looking for a specific time of when it happened.
Okay, and when you had contact with her, did she seem to be competent at the time?
She was stressed because of the situation, but she knew what she was doing, trying to find the video. She was just stressed because she was leaving her store unattended.
Okay. And so in your view of her pulling up the video, because you reviewed the contents of state exhibit number 1, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so when you go into that back room and view the surveillance footage, did you observe her edit it in any way?
No, she just kept looking for the specific timing of the incident that occurred.
Judge, so at this time we would offer state exhibit number 1. There's no evidence that the video has been altered in any manner.
All right. Defense objection is overruled.
Judge, just for
That is
states 1.
State's Exhibit number 1. Are you offering that into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted over defense's objection.
Okay. I'm not gonna publish it to the court at this time just for efficiency purposes. But I'm just gonna proceed with my question.
All right.
Officer Thomas, and then so from the video that you viewed, were you able to gain any suspect descriptions?
Yes, ma'am. I was able to capture what he was wearing, and I was able to let my FTO know so that way he can put it over the air.
Okay. And when you observed the surveillance video, were you able to identify any of the parties that were shown on the surveillance video?
Yes, whenever she was able to finally put up the exact time, I was able to see that our victim, which was Gilbert, entered the store, and once he came out of the store, the suspect was still outside. And then once our victim came out of the store, that's when our suspect attacked V1 once he was trying to get into the vehicle.
Okay. And then did you see the suspect do anything else? Like, did he ultimately gain access to the vehicle?
Yes, he had grabbed Gilbert from the back and was struggling with him after a while. And then once he grabbed his hands to grab the keys, he finally got a hold of the keys and then threw him on the ground and then got into the vehicle.
Okay. And did you ever make contact with that suspect?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, in some at the scene, all you did was make contact with the victim, take a statement, and then generate a report. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, based on the information that was told to you, what offense did you write your report for?
For that incident, we went with aggravated robbery of an individual due to the age of our victim.
Okay. We packed the witness, sir.
You said you never made contact with Mr. Lampkin that day.
No, sir.
Are you familiar with his mental health status?
No, sir.
Are you a part of the mental health unit?
No.
Pass the witness.
No further questions.
All right. Just one moment. Is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse, Your Honor.
All right, excused?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, off the record. Lauren, they tell me the paperwork is ready. Docket sheet. All right, we're back on the record in 2025 CR 000208. 2025 CR 002028. And 2025 CR 00705 State versus Benito Vasquez. That in cause number 2025 CR 002028, your client is changing his plea. Is that correct, Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, ma'am.
Then in each cause number state, do you have any evidence to submit? Any objection? In each of the cause numbers, did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it at all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there'll be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
In each cause number, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. In cause number 2025 CR 002028, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing? In that cause number, the court will follow your agreement. The court will sentence you. You didn't give me the rest of the paperwork back. Thank you. The court will sentence you to 236 days in the Bexar County Jail, give you credit for any time served, and that will be under 1244. This will run concurrent with 2025 CR 000208. and 2025 CR 002028. And there's to be no residing with minors. I'm sorry, no residing in any households with minors. And cause number 2025 CR 000208. The court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find you guilty. The court will sentence you to 236 days in the Bexar County Jail under 1244. Is this under 1244? Okay. Give you credit for any time served. Take in consideration 2025 CR 008764. This will run concurrent with 2025 CR 000705 and 2025 CR 002028. There's to be no contact with HEB and no residing in any households with minors. And cause number 2025 CR 000705. And that cause number, the state was proceeding on the indictment as presented. Again, that's a state jail felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow that plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to that offense, did you enter a plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how did you plead? I believe it was no contest.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in that offense, counsel, again, this, according to these stipulations, it is marijuana. I'm sorry, it is heroin and meth. So is he still going to proceed with a plea of no contest? All right. Are you changing your plea with regards to that offense to guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. After reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments in that cause number, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. And the court will find you guilty. The court will sentence you to 235 days in the Bexar County Jail under 1244. There's a $1,000 fine. This will run concurrent with 2025 CR 002028 and 2025 CR 000208. There's to be no residing in households with minors. Court will give you credit for any time served. In each of those cause numbers, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because these are plea bargain agreements, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because these are felony convictions, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what that is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we can go off the record. Good luck to you. You better make changes. Otherwise, you're going to live your life in prison. You understand?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. And tell Atascosa County, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. I will.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
You too, ma'am.
All right. Detective Jacobs, if you could raise your right hand for me, please.
Okay.
Oh, and unmute. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Detective David Jacobs,
All right, state, you may proceed.
Detective Jacobs, how are you currently employed?
with the City of San Antonio Police Department.
How long have you been employed with San Antonio Police Department?
Over 18 years.
And what is your current title and assignment with SAPD?
Uniform evidence detective with North Patrol, B shift.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes.
Okay. And as a uniformed evidence detective, what are your duties?
Go to crime scenes to take photographs, look for fingerprints on crimes, test narcotics for patrolmen, and that's pretty much most of it.
Okay. And so were you assigned to a call under SAPD 25052748 on March 18th of 2025?
I was.
Okay. And was that, do you recall what that location was?
An
Or-
apartment complex, parking lot.
Okay. And do you recall why you were dispatched there?
To go recover a recovered stolen vehicle left in the parking lot.
Okay. And did you take photographs of this motor vehicle that was recovered?
I did.
Detective Jacobs, I'm gonna show you what has been marked as Stacy September 2. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you familiar with that disc?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have you viewed it prior to today?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you put your initials on it when you viewed it?
Yes, ma'am.
What is contained on State's Exhibit number 2?
The photographs that I took from the scene of the recovered stolen vehicle.
All right, and are they a fair and accurate depiction of the scene as it occurred on Offense State?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, Your Honor, the state offers State's Exhibit number 2 and tendering to defense for inspection.
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit number 2 is admitted without objection.
And then, well, we pass the witness, Your Honor.
No question
Okay.
for this witness.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Who is your next witness?
It would be Gilbert Aleman, Your Honor.
All right, is there a Gilbert Alaman on, please? Okay. All right, sir, if you could do me a favor and unmute, please.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
okay.
All right, Mr. Alaman, can you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes,
All right, you can lower your hand. Just make sure you keep your voice up so that everyone can hear, all right?
okay,
All right, thank you. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Aleman, can you hear me okay?
yes.
Okay. How old are you currently?
80,
And what is your date of birth?
10, 25, 45.
Do you currently live in Bear County?
Yes.
How long have you lived in Bear County?
About 19 years around.
Okay. And do you work currently?
Yes.
What field are you employed in?
I work for PDM, just labor worker.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about March 17th of 2025. Do you recall an incident that occurred at a Shell gas station?
Yes,
Okay. That Shell gas station, was that located in Bear County, Texas?
yes.
Okay. And can you explain to the court what you were doing on that day at the gas station?
Yes, I went to play the lottery. Well, first when I arrived there, I put up a park, and there was the gentleman that attacked me, and there were 3 other people, and so I went inside, played the lottery, I came out. As I was reaching for my keys, he grabbed me from behind, grabbed me from behind, and we wrestled, and then he said, "Give me the keys, so and so," he swear. Then he tossed me on the ground, then he took off.
Okay. Do you recall what curse word he said to you?
Yeah, he said, give me the keys, MF.
And so when you were on the ground, what did you feel when this was occurring?
So it happened so fast, I was shocked.
Okay. Go
Because
ahead.
when I got off the car, I looked at his face. It looked so innocent. It just like was calm. And it was three other gentlemen. I never thought I would be attacked.
Okay. And did you have any injuries from the attack?
Yeah, I had a scrape on my side and my shoulder. My shoulder just little have a hard time racing all the way up, but it's movable. Nothing to stop me from working.
Okay. And so at the time that this offense occurred, because your birthday is in October, were you 79 when this happened to you?
Yes,
And what kind of car were you driving that day?
a Cadillac,
Okay. What color was it?
white.
All right. And the person that attacked you, did they flee in your motor vehicle?
Yes, he took off he took off on the car.
Okay. Judge, I was gonna share my screen, but I don't think I have the capability to do that.
I can,
Okay.
if there's no objections, I can share the screen from here. Have you had a chance to see it?
It's just the photos of the vehicle.
And for the record, this is State's Exhibit number 2, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Aleman, that,
Oh, just give me one moment
Okay.
for my computer to boot.
okay. All right. Are you able to see that photograph?
Yes,
Okay. Judge, can you go to the next one?
Go to the next one.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Aleman, can you see that?
yes,
Okay, does that appear to be the motor vehicle that was taken from you?
yes,
Okay. And can you see that?
yes,
Okay, and does that appear to be your motor vehicle?
yes, because it's got the plates, the temporary plates, the paper.
Okay, thank you. Then Mr. Aleman, when you were attacked at the Shell gas station, were police called? Did the
Was it-
police show up to the gas station?
Yes,
Okay, and did you speak with them?
yes.
Okay. And then did you have any like placards in your motor vehicle for parking?
And then what?
Like, did you have a handicap placard for your motor vehicle for parking?
Yes,
Okay. We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Aliman, can you hear me?
yes,
Okay. You said you work as a labor worker at PDM?
correct.
Okay. And after this incident, you were able to return to work?
Yes,
You did not have to take any sick days?
no, no,
Was your vehicle ultimately returned to you?
no,
It was not returned to you.
no, no.
Okay. Were you able to make a claim to get another vehicle?
No, that was my son's car and that was pounded and I don't know what happened after that. There was issue with insurance, there was the issue with the dealer, there was paperwork, there was a loaner, it wasn't purchased, so my son dealt with that.
Okay. So he didn't have a legal claim of right to the vehicle? Is that correct?
Judge, I'm gonna object as to speculation.
That will be overruled. If you know the answer, you can answer.
Part that I know he did had, because he gave money down payment on it, so he had,
But y'all weren't able to clear up the title issues and get the car back out?
no, we don't know what happened with insurance.
Okay. You said when he first approached you, he seemed to look innocent, Mr. Lampkin. Is that correct?
Yes,
You were kind of surprised by what took place.
correct.
Did it seem as if he kind of switched personality in a split second almost?
No, when I walk out of the car, he looks innocent. I came back. I was kind of, just trying to use my judgment, and my judgment wasn't that good.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you in that moment did he point a weapon at you?
No,
Did he use a weapon of any kind?
not that I know it, no.
Okay. And he didn't hit you or anything when you were on the ground.
Uh, I had some bruises, but not, I, I mean, it happened so fast. We wrestled for a while. I mean, to me, it was a while. Could have been 1 minute, could have been an hour for that time. And we wrestled back and forth. So I was trying to escape him. So I can't recall. He grabbed me from behind. So I don't think he had no weapons with him.
Okay. But you didn't end up getting a laceration or any broken bones or anything like that, correct?
No, no broken bones or not.
Okay, good. And you're still able-bodied and able to work today?
Yes,
Okay. You said you played the lottery that day?
correct.
And did you win?
Yeah, I won the floor.
Okay, okay. Pass the witness.
Mr. Alaman, just briefly, so the motor vehicle, that Cadillac, you stated that it was in your son's possession. To your knowledge, your son was the owner of the vehicle or had put
Correct. Yes,
some money payment toward that vehicle, correct?
correct, correct.
Okay, and your son gave you permission to use the motor vehicle on that day?
Yes, to go to work, yes.
Okay, and at any time, did you ever give the person that attacked you your permission to operate that motor vehicle?
How's that again?
Did you ever, the person that attacked you, did you allow them to take the motor vehicle or did they take it by
No,
force?
no.
Okay, we pass the witness, Your Honor.
No further questions.
All right, is the witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, thank you. You may be excused.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience.
You're welcome.
All right, state, call your next witness.
Is it, the state calls Officer Palafox?
Irvin, all right. Could you unmute for me, please? Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Detective Justin Irvin. My badge number is 2125.
All right, state, you may proceed.
All right. Detective Irvin, how are you currently employed?
I'm a detective with the San Antonio Police Department. I work for the robbery unit.
All right, and how long have you been employed with the San Antonio Police Department?
This month will be 12 years.
Okay. And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were you with the robbery unit on March 17th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, were you assigned to conduct a follow-up investigation on SAPD 25052748?
Yes, ma'am. I assisted with the initial investigation.
Okay. And who is the lead detective under that SAPD case number?
It was Detective Sanchez.
All right. And I guess during the course of the investigation, was there a business that you were tasked to go to try to collect evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what business was that?
It's a Jim's restaurant at O'Connor Road and 35.
Okay, is that located in Bexar County, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you able to obtain video surveillance from that location?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and was that provided to Detective Sanchez?
Yes.
Okay.
It was up.com. Yes, ma'am.
No, go ahead. You said it was?
It was uploaded to evidence.com. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We passed the witness, Your Honor.
No questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused?
I'm sorry, I have two more questions.
All right, you may proceed.
Sorry. When you went
Object. To pass the witness, Your Honor.
Overruled.
when you went to the gyms, did you take any photographs regarding the phone that was located there at gyms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess off the top of your head, do you recall the phone numbers that were photographed?
I do not off the top of my head. If I could reference my report, I could give those. If not, the photographs were uploaded to evidence.com.
Okay. But you don't have your report there with you, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, can you go ahead and reference that, please?
Yes, ma'am. There were 2 phone numbers on the gym's phone. One was a 218-514-8363. And then the other one, the only difference in the number is that it's a 210. So 210-514-8363.
No questions?
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
All right, you too. All right, who's your next witness?
I'll go ahead and call Officer, or Detective Sanchez.
All right, Detective Sanchez, if you could show your video, please. Can you
Yes,
raise your
ma'am.
right hand? All right, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Reynaldo Sanchez.
All right, state you may proceed.
Detective Sanchez, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed by the San Antonio Police Department.
And are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
What unit are you assigned to within the San Antonio Police Department?
I'm a detective on the robbery unit.
And how long have you been on the robbery unit?
I've been with the robbery unit for 3 years.
Okay. Were you a detective with the robbery unit on March 17th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were you assigned a case to conduct follow-up investigation under SAPD 25052748?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And how did you receive that case?
I received the case through. We had several detectives respond, Detective Rochford and Detective Flores, who responded to the initial incident. Um, Detective Rochford took statements from the victim and the witness on scene, and Detective Flores worked on surveillance video there at the Shell gas station. I spoke with Detective Flores and I spoke with Detective Rochford on that day while we're um, investigating the incident and trying to locate the victim's vehicle. And everything was consistent with an aggravated robbery.
Okay. Now you said that Detective Rockford took statements from the victim. Were you able to review those statements as part of your investigation?
Yes,
And
ma'am. I reviewed his body worn camera, and I also reviewed his supplement report.
okay. And so that statement that you viewed from the victim, was it consistent with the charge that you went with of aggravated robbery in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now at the time that, and I guess once you received the case and you started to conduct your investigation, did you enlist some help from Detective Irvin?
I did, ma'am. The case was assigned to me. We were on a separate call at the time, so Detective Flores and Detective Rochford did the initial stuff. So we joined in on the investigation, and I tasked Detective Irvin to go over to the Jim's restaurant after I received information from Detective Flores, who reviewed the surveillance video, and he advised that the suspect had crossed the street and walked over to the Shell gas station. So I advised Detective Irvin to go over to the Jim's restaurant, which is directly across the street from the Shell gas station. I asked him to look for video or any type of evidence we can gather.
Okay. And Detective Irvin, while he was at that Jim's restaurant, he obtained a phone number that was dialed from that restaurant. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that phone number was 210-514-8363. Is that?
Is it okay if I reference my report, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
210-514-8363.
Oh,
All right, you can repeat it.
oh, did you take any investigative steps regarding that phone number?
Yes, ma'am. At our unit, we work as a whole. We started investigating the number. We discovered that it had been used in a prior police report linked to Mr. Lampkin. And then we typed it into Cash App as well. Cash App came up with the name, I believe it was Malik. Let me get it for you. Malik Lampkin, the one. So we had a name from those two sources. And shortly after the aggravated robbery at the Shell, another incident came out at the HEB, which was close by. And that ended up being a theft of person case. But we captured surveillance video from the HEB, and we were able to confirm that the suspect vehicle there was the one belonged to Mr. Aleman, the one that was stolen. And we were able to use surveillance video from the HEB as well to get a clear photo of Mr. Lampkin as he exited the HEB. Using that clear photo, I sent it over to a DPS resource that we use. Let me get you his name. He's a crime analyst, Mr. DPS crime analyst Ryan Boyd, and he has facial recognition software. And he gave us a return for Mr. Malik Lampkin as well. So we had his Cash App name, Malik Lampkin. We had a prior report using the cell phone number linked to Malik Lampkin, and we also had a facial recognition return, and I provided all of that with my case.
Okay. And then after you confirmed the identity and based on everything that you learned throughout your investigation, what was the result of your investigation?
So we had all of those resources, the phone, the Cash App, and the facial recognition. When I got back to the office, I continued to do investigative research on prior reports, and I saw that Mr. Lampkin had recently been in contact with police, and there was a police report that was made. I contacted that officer who had contact with Malik Lampkin, and he was able to positively identify him as a person from the photo from HEB that I used for the facial recognition, since he was clear. He confirmed that was Mr. Malik Lampkin. So from there, we continued with the investigation, and I was able to obtain an arrest warrant for him.
Okay, and when you obtained the arrest warrant, for what offense was that?
It was going to be for aggravated robbery due to the victim's age.
Okay. At this time, we pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense.
Officer Sanchez, are you familiar with the term emergency detention?
Yes, sir.
What is an emergency detention?
Emergency detention usually involves when somebody is in some type of crisis where they're a danger to themselves or others, and they need to be detained and taken to a medical facility.
Okay. Is that normally if like they're having like heart palpitations, or is that more like mental health? What does it normally involve?
It's usually mental health related.
Okay. So if Mr. Lampkin was admitted to the Laurel Ridge Treatment Center in January of 2025 for an emergency detention, would that indicate that he had mental health issues at that time to you?
Judge, I'm going to object as to facts not in evidence, and the witness lacks personal knowledge.
Sustained.
So if an individual is admitted to a treatment facility for an emergency detention, does that indicate to you that they have mental health treatment that's happening?
It indicates to me that they were a danger to themselves or others, and that they had to be admitted.
Okay. Do people that are having only physical problems get emergency detained?
Not usually.
They would normally just go to the hospital and get checked out, right?
Correct.
And that is normally University Hospital, right?
University Hospital for what, sir?
So, for example, if somebody's getting arrested and let's say they're DWI and they start having a panic attack, Officer Sanchez, I'm having a panic attack, I'm having a panic attack. They would go to University Hospital and then they would evaluate them, make sure they're okay, right?
To my understanding, there's a whole different protocol. The officer or whoever would be in contact with him from law enforcement would take him to a facility designated by a mental health place. But yeah, they would go to the hospital.
Okay. So whether it's a physical or mental health crisis, they would get the treatment they need if they're in custody, right?
Correct, sir.
And there's a difference between an emergency detention and an arrest, right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know the difference between a long psychiatric history and a short psychiatric history?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know the difference between the word short and long?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what's the difference?
One is for a shorter time frame, and the other is probably for a longer time frame.
Okay, thank you. I pass the witness.
No further questions and excused by the state, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You're
Thank you,
excused.
Judge Boyd.
All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls Officer Gomez.
All right, Officer Gomez, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Officer Gomez.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Officer Gomez, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed by the San Antonio Police Department.
Okay. Are you certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with the San Antonio Police Department?
About 2 years.
All right. And are you a patrol officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you a patrol officer with SAPD on March 15th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And on that day, were you dispatched to 4711 Osborne Glade, San Antonio, Texas, 78247?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall what you were dispatched to that location for?
It was for a family disturbance, I believe.
All right. Was that documented under SAPD 25051039?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you arrived on scene, did you make contact with an individual by the name of Malik Lampkin?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And did you speak to him on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess upon arrival, can you just describe to the court the scene that you observed when you arrived?
Yes, ma'am. As I arrived at the scene, there had been an altercation between Mr. Lampkin and another individual. I guess a fight had broken out between gas and a vehicle. Between payment over gas. Both parties are separated. Emotions were high and things of that nature.
Okay. And when you spoke with Mr. Lampkin, in your report, did you notate that when he was speaking to you, he wasn't making sense with what he was saying?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also notate in your report that you asked him if he was diagnosed with anything?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his response to that?
He said he was diagnosed with something, and didn't give me any clarification other than that.
Okay. Did he let you know that he had been prescribed medication for his diagnoses?
Yes.
Okay. And then did he further state that he was not taking the medication?
Yes.
Okay. And so at that time, what did you decide to do under that SAPD case number?
I placed Mr. Lampkin on emergency detention.
Okay. And then on March 18th, under SAPD case number 25052748, were you contacted by Detective Sanchez?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what did he contact you for?
He contacted me to notify me that Mr. Lampkin was involved in a robbery case.
All right, and did he provide you with anything?
Yes, he sent me he sent me the suspect information in which was Mr. Lampkin in a surveillance video.
Oh, okay, so with surveillance video or the steel shot that you observed, were you able to confirm that that was the same person that you emergency detained on March 15th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I guess going back to March 15th of 2025, at that time, from looking at your report, it looks like an assault bodily injury had occurred. Why did you not place the defendant under arrest on that day?
The victim at the time did not want to press charges.
Okay.
So I felt that I understood he didn't want to press charges, but I felt that if you still harmed others and not med compliant, I felt that it was the best for him and everyone else that he was in emergency detention.
Okay, thank you. We pass the witness.
It's Officer Gomez, right?
Yes, sir.
So on March 15th, you decided to emergency detain Mr. Lampkin.
Correct.
And you're aware that one of the allegations here in this contested hearing happened on the 17th of March, 2025.
Correct.
Okay, which would have been 2 days later.
Yes, sir.
When you took him to the emergency detention facility, was your expectation that they would hopefully help him out before they released him back to the public?
Correct. Yes, sir.
So your goal was to try and keep him safe as well as keep others safe.
Yes, sir.
In our current society, do we have residential facilities that hold people with mental health issues indefinitely?
Yes, sir. Excuse me.
We do,
Yes, sir.
but they have limited resources, right?
From my knowledge, yes. I'm not too sure.
What I mean to say is can they take in every single person that has a mental health illness, or do they have to kind of prioritize the more emergent situations
I would think the more emergent.
because of limited resources?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you took him on March 15th, you were expecting this guy should get some help. You were hoping for that.
Yes, sir.
And even though the other family member did not want to prosecute him at that time, you thought this is what's best for him and others.
Yes, sir.
And you stated in direct testimony that he wasn't making sense when speaking to you.
Correct.
And he wasn't med compliant,
Correct.
as far as you could tell.
Yes, so that's what his family was telling me, and then when I asked him, he said he hadn't been taking it. So,
Okay. Are you medically trained?
no, sir.
Okay. Are you a mental health professional?
No, sir.
Okay. I pass this.
No further questions and excused by the state.
Excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next witness.
It's going to be Officer McKinney.
All right, Officer McKinney. Could you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
R. McKinney.
State, you may proceed.
Officer McKinney, how are you employed in August of 2025?
With the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And what division did you work in with the sheriff's office?
I worked on the floor, the regular detention side.
Okay. And were you considered a jailer or a deputy?
I'm gonna consider a deputy and a it's like our title is deputy sheriff, ma'am.
Okay. And so does that mean that you have a certification through TCOL?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're a certified peace officer in the state of Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so as a deputy, what were your duties at the Bexar County Jail?
Our duties at the Bexar County Jail is provide safe and secure facility throughout the inmates.
making sure that they're getting their proper day room time, meals, and use the form, etc., and stuff like that.
Okay. And so on August 10th of 2025, were you employed at the Bear County Jail as a deputy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is the Bear County Jail located in Bear County, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall what your assignment was on that day?
I believe my assignment was that day was a hospital duty assignment.
Okay. And in your report, it's listed as UH Rio Tower. Does that have any significance regarding the hospital or medical?
Well, that's just certain areas where the patient is at, depending on their health wise and where they need to be stationed. So that's where we was at that day.
Okay. And were you assigned to watch over a specific inmate on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that inmate's name?
Malik Lampkin.
Okay. And while you were supervising him in UH Rio Tower, what occurred?
While I was watching him, he sat up and he just like started cursing and started spitting. So I moved the nurse out of the way so spit would get on her, and gave him verbal commands to stop spitting. And I contact my floor corporal that was working at the time and came downstairs to help with the situation.
Okay. Did he spit on you?
No, ma'am. So when he spit, he didn't spit directly on me, but when he spit for me moving the medical tech out of the way, a little bit had got on my arm.
Okay. We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
Officer McKinney, are you familiar with that tower? Have you worked there before that date?
So that was the first time I ever worked in a Rio Tower, but I have worked around the hospital there before.
Okay. Is the Rio Tower a little bit different than other parts of the hospital?
No, it's the same.
Okay. And all parts of the hospital are mental health?
Not all parts of the hospital, I believe, is mental health because I don't work in the hospital. But where they sent me at, that's where I had worked for that day.
Okay. And whenabouts did this situation happen? What date?
Can you repeat that again, sir?
Yeah, what date did this happen?
Can I go back and generate from my report, please?
Yes.
1 second.
I think you muted yourself, officer.
He has to do that to look at his.
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
August 10th, 2025.
Okay, so this occurred on August 10th, 2025. If there were medical records from August 9th, 2025, they would have been the day before, right?
Yes, sir.
And if there are medical records from August 9th, 2025 from University Hospital talking about Mr. Lampkin being in psychosis, that would be the day before.
To be honest with you, sir, I don't know anything about that, so I can't speak on nothing that I don't know.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I'm not objecting to that exhibit, so
Okay.
do you need to ask him
Yes,
questions?
what
or he can-
exhibit are you offering?
I'm not offering the exhibit yet. I'm asking him some
Do
questions.
you want to offer the exhibit?
Yes, Your Honor. I will offer the exhibit 2, 3, and 4 defendant's exhibits.
All right, is there going to be any objections to?
There's no objection. There's no objection to the documents, but I'm objecting to the line of questioning because he doesn't have personal knowledge, as he just stated. So I'm not objecting to the documents, but if we could just get on with it, please.
Let me see defense exhibits, please. I'm sorry, state, you have no objections to defense 2, 3, and 4?
Correct.
All right, 2, 3, and 4 admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Officer McKinney, if somebody was in the Rio Tower, would they be a normal inmate of the Bear County Jail, or would they be somebody that was getting some sort of medical treatment?
That would be someone getting some so I can't speak on nothing medical because like I said, I don't work in the medical field and I don't know any of this man's personal health or medical, but anyone that is sick that is sent out to the hospital depending on their level of sickness, that's where the hospital will place them. It all depends on the hospital and the nurses.
Okay. Do you remember if Mr. Lampkin was a young man or an old man?
I remember he was a young man.
Okay. So if he was there, it was likely for a mental health reason.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Okay. You said when you were talking to him, did he make logical sense to you?
The way when he was talking, he just started like shouting, cuss words and all that. Then he just went into this rant of spitting.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that he had been hitting his head against the wall the previous day?
Not to my knowledge, I wouldn't know anything about it.
Okay. Have you ever seen an inmate hit their head against the wall?
Not to my knowledge, sir. I don't be in those kind of areas to where they hit their head, so I can't speak on any thing that I don't know anything about.
Sure, of course. But in your time in the jail, have you ever heard of anybody hurting themselves?
Yes, people does that. I hear it all the time, but I never witnessed any of that to me.
Sure. But if there was a medical record, such as in Defendant's Exhibit 2, 3, and 4, that reference that Mr. Lampkin had hit his head against the wall the day before, would that suggest that he was going through some sort of issue?
Judge, I'm gonna object as to speculation.
Sustained.
Do you commonly see inmates hit their head against the wall?
No, sir.
Okay. The Rio Tower, what is your understanding of its function?
The Rio Tower, I understand from my understanding is that an inmate could be potentially sick and need like extra help with medical. So I believe that's why they place them there. I never worked the Rio Tower, just only that day.
Okay. And have you gone back since?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you supposed to have special training to be in that tower?
No, sir. Because you're just sitting and providing security and safety on the inmate.
Okay. And you said that you were not injured, but you did get something on your arm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I pass the witness.
No further questions and excused by the
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Officer McKinney.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Well, good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Any other witnesses?
No, Judge, at this time, the state rests.
Defense will call Ken Moye.
All right, we're going to take our recess and we'll resume the hearing. Let me just see. Norma, if you'll put this down. For December 15th. All right, so we'll be back on December 15th. Could somebody give him a reset form?
Your Honor, I do have a trial setting in Kendall County. Could we do the week after or the week
No.
before? Okay. All right, we'll file a motion.
We'll call Kendall County.